How do you turn 10,000 into 100,000 with real estate? Well, you can do it traditionally over a long period of time, or you can compress time with creative real estate investing. Creative real estate allows you to accomplish a lot more in less time. Maybe you're behind in your savings and retirement plans, and you want the most efficient vehicle you can find to catch up and build wealth. If your goal is to grow your capital 10x or even more without it taking decades, creative real estate is the answer. In this video, you're going to discover how creative real estate investing can allow you to create massive returns and how you can turn 10,000 into 100,000 or even more with the right knowledge and training. I'm Brian Bush with Freedom Mentor, and for nearly 20 years, our organization has coached and mentored many of America's most successful real estate investors. We've been part of thousands of house flips and creative real estate deals, and we've helped countless investors master creative investing techniques to take their investing to the next level and allow them to create financial independence.
Got questions? Simply text the word freedom to 305 315 8030 and we'll help you.
And if the wisdom you're gaining through these videos is adding to your bottom line, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications to get alerted every time we bring you more. So of course, the presumption to turning 10,000 into 100,000 is that you have 10,000. But what if you don't? Well, let's start with capital. If you have personal savings, great. But perhaps you're obtaining or accessing a line of credit on your primary residence or another asset you own. You may borrow from yourself out of your 401k retirement plan. Perhaps you've inherited some money or might even borrow from friends or family. Just please be very cautious in pulling money from a credit card. While it may be constructive debt, it's very expensive and should be used wisely. If you want to know more about any of these, watch How to Raise Private Money for House Flips. Now, considering you have some seed capital to grow your business, where do you begin? Arguably, before you even have your starting capital, your focus must be on education. It's the barrier to entry that really is why creative real estate provides such a wonderful opportunity. Find a mentor, someone that has had success in the business, and get the training you need to thoroughly introduce all the creative concepts you need to understand creative real estate. While we've been quietly teaching our apprentices for nearly 2 decades, there are a lot of resources available out there. But make sure that whoever you work with has aligned interests with you. Unfortunately, some gurus out there sell a lot of hype with very little real education and even less real-world help through deals. Because once you've paid them for their course, they don't have much incentive or interest in helping you close anything. What's in it for them? So while you should spend money on the right education, always remember to do your own thorough homework and that you get what you pay for. But the right education is worth its weight in gold. If you want to know more about our apprentice program, click on the link in the description. So again, this all begins with education, learning the business and the mechanics of deals, at least theoretically. But be clear that theory remains abstract until you put it into practice in the real world doing creative real estate deals. Now, let's look at the process of finding and doing deals consistently to grow your 10,000 to 100,000 and more. Step one will be marketing. This is an absolutely critical part of creative real estate because we're not looking for deals on the MLS or going to auctions. We work directly with motivated sellers and skip the competition. That's part of what allows us to utilize creative solutions outside the box to move faster, saving the seller time and money and allowing us room to profit on deals traditional investors just wouldn't be able to do. You'll spend money on marketing, but the key is to know what is effective and where to focus your dollars, rather than reinventing the wheel and burning a lot of cash in the process. We've absolutely mastered this and work with our apprentices to develop the right marketing plan and budget. Step two is getting the contract. You want to get the agreement with the seller in writing, and we typically do that with very little earnest money in hand. Rarely no more than $10 because again, this is not a traditional deal with agents and nearly as many hoops and constraints. And depending on the seller's situation, you may be taking over subject to, catching up payments, and getting the seller some cash at closing besides a potential seller finance note. Again, this is where the creative real estate education comes in, as well as ongoing help from a coach. Step three will be diving into your diligence. You always want to do a detailed title search. Watch Phil's training on the Investor Guide to Real Estate Title to learn all the details you need to know more about title. With creative deals, this is all the more important since we don't always need to obtain a title policy. An inspection is also part of your due diligence, but time it after the rest of your diligence is checking out. No need to spend $500 until you're confident investing more money before closing. You could also pay for an appraisal, but you should primarily be relying on your analysis of the MLS comps rather than solely an appraisal, much less an agent's CMA. With experience, that's an expense you can skip. Another key part of your diligence will be a scope of work and bids from reliable contractors. You must have the condition dialed in before you take over on the property. If you work with the right reputable contractors and approach with a solid scope of work, you shouldn't need to spend money on most bids. Now, armed with all that information, you're ready for step 4 in determining your best exit strategy. You may decide to close and then rehab to retail the property. You'll rely on all your diligence to determine what work to do, as not all improvements will yield a good return. Now, perhaps you want to hold the property long term, which means you want clarity on getting the property into rent-ready condition, and of course your rent analysis to ensure solid cash flow. But especially if you're new, you may be more interested in flipping the property for some fast cash. That may or may not require some repairs to maximize your return, but the goal is to move the property quickly, ideally before you even have to take title. It's what we call the quick nickel, and many times it beats out the slow dime in comparison. Once you're clear on your exit strategy, you're ready to move to step 5 and closing. And we often reduce the costs and headaches associated with closing, and creative real estate will involve a variety of techniques depending on the deal type and whether you're involving subject to and or seller financing, and if you have a title company versus a closing attorney involved. Depending on the deal, your strategy, and the money and timing required, this is where you more often than not turn your investment into profit. And your goal will be to learn from each and every deal to get more proficient and efficient, spending the least amount of money needed to maximize your return and profits. You want to rinse and repeat and build momentum as you grow your seed capital into consistent real estate profits. For more details on how we do this, check out Phil's video, How to Turn a Little into a Lot with Real Estate. Now, an obvious question will be, can I grow my investment tenfold in one deal? Typically, no, although we do see that on occasion. But most anything worthwhile in life will take an investment of time, effort, and often money. So growing your real estate business will be a step-by-step endeavor, and the more you do it, the more you'll master. Another common question is, what kind of timing and results should I expect? Well, back to where we started, the biggest time investment will be on your education, and all the more with creative real estate investing. For some, that may be months, while others try the crash course in a matter of weeks, and others the slow and steady approach that may last them a year or more. The pace is up to you and your schedule, but the key is having a training plan that allows you to be clear on all the steps to take so you don't waste time. Again, all that theory must take shape as you work on your first deal, ideally with a coach that shows you the ropes, and bringing all that education to bear in a successful real estate deal. From there, it's a matter of assessing your results and returns. So here's the question for you. How many deals do you think it will take to achieve $100,000 in profits? In reviewing some of our current apprentices, let's look at a few examples and how many deals it took them to break $100,000.
Every successful real estate investor has a mentor. Get mentored by me and my team by applying to be my next apprentice. Click the top corner.
Scott's very first deal, he was just out of pocket $525, netted a profit of $13,715. Not bad for his first wholesale deal. His second wholesale, he was actually $1,593 out of pocket, netted a profit of $24,506. That deal actually involves some creative terms. His third deal, he took on what he'd grown into, which was a rehab. He was nearly $81,000 out of pocket, utilizing line of credit and other funds that he'd grown to have access to. He netted a profit of $74,648. So as you see, it took Scott 3 deals to break $100,000, and in so doing, he made $112,869. Now he's gone on to do more deals, more rehabs, more wholesale deals, and creative terms. His most recent deal was a rehab that he put $59,986 into, but it made him over $104,000 in just one deal. That's pretty good at growing into this business. Next, let's take a look at Adam. Adam's in the Northwest. Adam's first deal he took on had $1,800 out of pocket and made him a modest $6,400 in profit. His second deal, also a wholesale deal, he took on with just $205 out of pocket, but netted $11,395. In his third deal, he was a little more out of pocket. It was a creative deal. He was $2,273 out of pocket, but as you can see, he netted $13,334. So he continued to grow in this business. His next deal, $205 out of pocket, but made him $83.94. He's continuing to grow. Adam's fifth deal with us, he was $4,689 out of pocket, but netted his biggest profit to date, $18,207, really starting to take off. His sixth deal, he took on a rehab. That rehab had him raising money and putting over $87,500 into the rehab. Line of credit, money that he's able to secure because he successfully closed deals. That deal netted him a profit of over $46,847. That is growing into this business, and that pushed him over the limit. It took him 6 deals to break $100,000. That actually made him $104,577. Now, what's exciting is that Adam's gone on to do plenty of other creative deals. His most recent, just $779 out of pocket, but netted him over $58,600. Adam's really taken off in this business. Now we'll take a look at Scott, a different Scott, who's actually in the Northeast. Scott's first deal had him $3,035 out of pocket. It netted him a profit of $43,686. His second deal, he was actually out of pocket less money, but made about the same profit, $1,847 out of pocket, but this time $44,694 in profit. His third deal, a little more modest, $863 out of pocket, netted $14,102. So as you can see, it took Scott just 3 deals to break $100,000, netting $102,482. What's exciting is Scott went on in his most recent deal only $2,338 out of pocket, and yet netted $45,552 in just one deal. That's the power of growing in this business and really being selective and where to put your efforts. We'll also look at Tony, who's up north. Tony's first deal, he was only out of pocket $200, and yet made him a modest $6,667. His second deal, very similar, $220 out of pocket, and yet netted $13,539. His third deal, again in line with the first two, only $202 out of pocket, but netted his highest yet at $20,109. His fourth deal, he was a little more out of pocket at $851, made a modest $6,957. So he was really working at ramping things up and building momentum. By his fifth deal, he was $1,680 out of pocket and yet made $11,286. Now on Tony's sixth deal, he was only $222 out of pocket, but was able to net $32,651 in profit. That's a great return. And that put him very close to his goal. He was over $91,000 in profit, but it was not until his seventh deal that he broke the $100,000 mark. He took on a rehab that had him over $34,000 out of pocket. That netted him $35,778. So in just 7 deals, Tony was able to blow past his $100,000 goal and make $126,987. Tony went on from there to do other deals. His most recent was another rehab that had him $64,278 out of pocket, but it netted him $74,478. The deal right before that, reminiscent of his early deals, $200 out of pocket, but netted over $39,000 in just one deal. So as you can see, Tony was able to net nearly $115,000 in just 2 deals. That's really growing into this business. And as a bonus, we'll take a look at Jordan. Jordan's in the Northwest. His first deal required more capital. he had more seed capital to get started with, and he took on a terms deal that required a lot more repair and clean out than a typical deal. In that deal, he was $26,670 out of pocket, but yet he netted in his first deal $145,628 in profit. So it took Jordan just one deal to break 100,000. Just to prove that wasn't a fluke though, he went on to his second deal, only 8,024 out of pocket, and yet netted in that one over 100,000 as well, $103,228. So not every deal is going to yield that kind of a profit, but if you learn how to do this business and are selective in the deals you take on, you can absolutely find home runs out there. Of course, every apprentice is facing different challenges and every real estate deal will be unique. And as with any investment, you could lose money. But in my experience, that only happens when you don't have the right education and you're not following a solid, successful mentor in the business. So again, the question is, how many deals will it take you to learn the skills you need to transform your financial future and make $100,000, $200,000? How about $500,000 in residential real estate as a creative real estate investor? What's holding you back? What's your barrier to entry? Is it coming up with $10,000 in seed capital to get started? Well, go back and review the videos on how to overcome that obstacle. You can't afford not to. Really, the only real barrier to this business is knowledge. Get the right education, commit yourself, work consistently with the right mentor, and you absolutely can achieve success in creative real estate investing. Now, of course, the vast majority will not. They'll either sit forever on the sidelines or move into traditional real estate and take the slow, grueling approach to retirement success. Very few will commit the time and effort to master creative real estate and achieve the rapid results that can change your life in the near term. But you know what? That's why there's plenty of opportunity for those that will. So whether you're new to real estate or well seasoned, if you're not incorporating creative real estate investing techniques into your repertoire, you're likely moving too slow, working harder, and realizing less return on investment. Creative real estate reduces your capital requirements. It reduces your level of risk and can help you compress time to grow your money. Real estate is the best business there is, and creative real estate investing can help you take your business to the next level. But you need the right training and education. You need a mentor. We've helped countless investors learn creative real estate and forever change their lives. If that's what you're looking for, join our Apprentice program, and our team will mentor, coach, and guide you to financial success. There's a link in the description and in the top right corner. And if you haven't read it, get your free copy of the best-selling book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor. If you have any questions for us, text FREEDOM to 305-315-8030 or comment below. And let us know if you want to learn more to get educated on investing techniques, or if you want to hear more from our apprentices about the success they've experienced. And if there are any other topics you want us to cover, or if you have other video ideas, let us know in the comments as well. I'm Brian Bush with freedommentor.com. If you've gained more real estate wisdom through this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.